All right, I got some pretty neat tips I want to show you that kind of pertain to the theme I've been on with masking. Let's go ahead and do File and New, and we're going to do a 6x5, and let's leave it at transparent because I want to actually do something different with this. I'll go ahead and Alt Backspace Option Delete to fill the background with black, and let's grab the text tool. We're going to go with white text. Impact's fine. Let's just pick a word here. Guitar. That's a pretty good word. Basically what I want to do is just a couple of different techniques that again use masking but allow us to enhance something. And in this particular case it's going to be text. I was working on something the other day, and what I wanted, there was a specific effect that I was looking for where I wanted the text to glow, but I wanted it to be like a gradual, like at the bottom not really be glowing, and then kind of at the top is where it really was glowing. And as you probably know, if you try to do a glow with layer styles here, then you can't really mask that. So what I did is I mimicked that behavior by duplicating the layer. So let's do Control J, and now I have two guitar text layers. I'll go ahead and jump down to the bottom one. I'm going to right click. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Let's turn this one off. I'll double click on the text, select it, and let's switch colors. Let's do a red glow. That'll work. So we can turn our top layer back on. This bottom layer, let's right click and let's rasterize the type. So now it is not editable text, it's now pixels. And let's go up to Filter, Blur. We'll do a Gaussian blur. And we just play with this until we like the glow. And I want kind of a good bit of glow. That's probably pretty good right there. So we click OK. And now all we have to do is apply a mask to that. Grab our gradient tool. And remember, with masks, black conceals, white reveals. So we're going to click down here at the bottom. This is where it's going to be black. Drag all the way up to the top, holding the Shift key down to make sure it goes real straight. And there we go. So we've got like this gradual fade where it starts to glow. So that is one technique. Let me go ahead and turn this off. Another technique is another text effect that's really popular today, and that's a glare, a reflection. So same kind of thing. We click on the layer that has our text, Control J to duplicate it. This effect is actually really easy to achieve. Control T, Command T on the Mac, and that brings up the free transform tool. We're going to click and drag down, again holding the Shift key. And that kind of inverts it. I'm going to do a pretty long one. Let's move it back up. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap there to kind of give it the impression of it being on a sheet of glass or something. Hit enter. And by the way, I apologize. I know I sound congested today. I've suffering from spring fever, I believe. Now what we want to do with this is right click on it and convert it to a smart object. That way we can do some pretty fancy stuff with it. Let's head up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And we want, not to totally blow it out, but that's pretty good right there. The reason that I do that with a smart object is because then the filters that I apply, I get a mask for that. So let's select the mask. And again, painting with the gradient tool, we want no blur at the top and full blur at the bottom. So shift clicking down here, and that's what we get. So it starts to get blurrier and blurrier. And then let's go ahead and add a mask to that layer itself. And we'll do it exactly the opposite, from the bottom to the top. So that hides it at the bottom, full view at the top. Let's take the whole layer and bring it down, bring down the opacity, something like that. Now let me show you what this effect looks like if we turn this off. Okay, you see the difference? So we've just made it a little bit more convincing by blurring out the detail there at the bottom. And this looks pretty neat in my opinion, but let's go ahead. We're going to shift click all the way down here. So I've got both of those layers selected. I'm going to right click and convert that to a smart object. And then this part, if you want to do this, let's go ahead and duplicate that layer just because I'm going to turn one of them off so I have an original. The only reason I'm duplicating it is because what I'm about to do will actually, I'll lose the functionality of that being a smart object. So if I wanted to revert back to the original at some point, I could. So let's right click on this one. We're going to go ahead and rasterize the layer. And the reason that we do that is what I'm about to do is not available if it's a smart object. So Control or Command T, we're going to right click and switch to Distort. And let's just bring these in, bring these out. We need to make sure that that looks pretty straight, like so. And there you go. You got 3 different techniques for making text look snazzy. Check out our other tutorials on the site, and I'll see you next time.